welcome to Heavy Metal Bake Sale. I'm Special K.
And I'm Prairie Dog. Tonight we're going to be talking to you about the Weezer's North American Summer Tour 2018. We were lucky enough to go see them
July 8th, yeah.
Yep, July 8th at Ruoff Home Mortgage Music Center in Noblesville, Indiana. You want to start off by talking a little bit about the venue?
Oh, before I mention that, we're drinking beer. We have our Rheingeist Pressed Tart. It's a fruit beer, Berliner style. If you want to see a review, it'll be on our other channel. So, that's tart.
Yeah.
It's like almost like a lambic. Besides the point. Anyway, so start out with the Wombats. So we drove to this concert. It was like 2 hours.
2.5, yeah.
2 hours from we're at Louisville, let's say Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
It was a pleasant drive. Parking was good.
Oh, yeah.
No issues with no paying for parking, which I was expecting to pay. The venue itself, beer was $17 and that's for like Bud Light.
Yeah.
For a can, 24-ounce can. Craft beers were like 22.
I think it was just $1 more.
Was it?
Yeah.
They were calling Blue Moon and like stuff like that. Anyway, on the subject. So the Wombats up. We had very good seats. I might add. We were what, I don't know, 15 rows from the front. We were like 3 rows from the front of the seating. Then there was the pit.
Yeah.
So we had very, very good seats. I will put some pictures probably at the end of this if you want to check out how close we were. But we spent a little money on these tickets.
Yeah, I think we bought somebody else's season pass tickets.
They were season pass tickets, so that included the VIP stuff, but that's besides the point. Tickets, we paid it's like $112 a piece or something like that for them.
Yeah.
Plus fees. It was worth it. Because, like I said, there was 3 bands. I didn't really care for the Wombats that much. They started playing before they were even like supposed to. So the show was supposed to start at 7. The Wombats went on at 6:40. We were still walking around checking out the place. At 6:40 they had went on stage. So we went and we decided to sit down to check them out. If you like the Wombats, that's awesome. I'm just gonna go ahead and say they remind me of like a boy band, a little bit of a boy band. Like when I say a boy band's like can play instruments, so you're One Direction and stuff like that. If they have serious music, you're really into the band, that's awesome. The only people that I saw were in that were generally 14-year-old blonde girls.
For me, it was... All I can really say about them is they were tight.
They were really nice, too.
Yeah.
They were nice guys.
They were tight, but their music wasn't my thing. I was the driver, so I'd just driven up there, and then once we got into the venue, I had 2 beers, so I was a little tired. It was hard for me to stay awake during their set. It was so...
And it was short. They did a short set, but I was okay with that.
Yeah.
So I was ready for the Pixies. The time between the sets was like non-existent. That was awesome. Like between the bands. Normally, from my experience from shows, it's like band goes on 40 minutes to an hour before the next band, or they go on really late. It's always irritating. But no, this was right after they were done. Within 10 minutes. 10 or 15 minutes, the Pixies were playing.
Yeah.
And if you aren't familiar with the Pixies are amazing. They had it was like a 20... How many songs do they have? I have it written down here. A 23-song a 23-song set. And they were really, really tight. One thing I noticed, and I'm a big Pixies fan, is their drummer has very interesting drumming style. Do you remember his... one hand with the classic drum style, the old school drum style, and modern on one. Very interesting drum style.
Yeah.
But on the subject, the Pixies opened up with Where's My Mind, which is probably their most famous song, a very good opener. I enjoyed it. I thought they played it really well. They were ridiculously tight. No banter, song to song to song, no talking, no anything. They just non-stop play, which some people like a little banter in between. Black Francis was his vocals for being fatter and older. No offense to him. His vocals were insane for being... he's in his 50s.
Yep. And
his screams were amazing. I don't think a lot of the audience were very into them because I think like when we were there, probably 3/4 of them were there when the Pixies started playing. 3/4 of the crowd was
like 12 people tops.
Yeah.
That were really into it.
Yeah, it was, and you could tell the people that were into it, but a lot of people weren't into it. You could tell when Weezer came on, everybody was there. But they went into Waves of Mutilation, which is, again, good. Did you have any songs that stuck out for you on the Pixies? I know you're not super familiar with them, so...
Yeah. No, I'll give them the casual experience after you're done with yours.
The replacement bass player for Kim I don't know why I cannot remember her name off the top of my head. It hurts me. I think she was in Perfect Circle for a while. She did good. Really good bass player. Vocally, she was good, and she added a lot. But the Pixies, you really have to have a lot of their songs require a female vocalist. And then I think she did well. A lot of people were like, "Oh, no Kim Deal. I don't like the Pixies anymore." She was a raging drug addict. I'm sorry. She was great. I love her in the band. But yeah, she was a raging, drug addict. So
yeah,
it makes sense. Anyway, 23 song set. I think my favorite song on there was probably "Gouge Away," the Mr. Greaves. Those are also really, really good songs. Again,
I don't
not
have much
familiar
context
with the Pixies. They finished with "Gigantic," which is a strictly all female sung song.
It was fantastic.
It was.
I really have to say that.
The outro, that being the great last song, was really, really good. I like I said, I like the fact that they played straight through, and they didn't have a lot of banter. But towards the end, I was expecting something. They didn't even. There was some bowing, but they didn't say any words. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, notably, again, as he's mentioned, I'm not really familiar with the Pixies. So for me going in, I was giving them mostly a fresh look. I'd heard a couple of their songs, but I wasn't really aware of song titles or anything like that. Even that aside, there are a couple of things that need to be touched on. Firstly, I'm kind of echoing Kevin here, but I'm very unfamiliar with their lead singer. But let me tell you, to me, I'm like, okay, this guy looks like he's 50. Let's see what we're going to see. He sounds just like he's 20. I mean, his screams are incredible. Really, I was so shocked to hear that come out of him. And they were just so tight all the way through.
They were.
I'm not very familiar with the band, so I don't know exactly what I'm missing out with. What was it? Kim
Deal was the original female vocalist and bassist.
I can definitely say
she was amazing.
Yeah, I can say with having my first impressions with this new girl, she was very, very talented. One of the best songs in the whole set was "Gigantic" at the end. It was also a good note to end on. Their set was so consistent all the way through. They really didn't lose energy, but I think they ended very well because at the end of that song, you wanted more.
Yeah. And there might have been maybe two or three songs in there where definitely the audience weren't connecting with because they weren't their hits, but they have a ton of hits. So "Monkeys Gone to Heaven" and like I said, "Gouge Away," and they have all these songs that are people can relate to. Mm-hmm. "Debaser," "Cracky Jones," Paz Lichen is her name. She's a weird name. That's why I couldn't remember it. David is the drummer, and then their guitarists. They're all really good. Black Francis is an amazing rhythm guitarist too. So overall, the Pixies, as far as that kind of venue, keep in mind, it's a huge venue.
Yeah, it didn't seem appropriate.
It wasn't appropriate for their style of music. They're used to playing really small venues, or they're like garage bands, what people would call them. Mm-hmm. So Weezer, I think they were co-headlining because Weezer respects them so much. Mm-hmm. And I know Weezer are big fans of the Pixies because they actually did a cover by them on a tribute album. Weezer did, so it's interesting. They did Valora, which is pretty cool. But anyway, which I was kind of hoping they would play live, but I knew that would never happen.
The only real criticism I have of the Pixies is at one point the lead guitarist seemed to be doing his own thing over there, just doing an impromptu solo, and it seemed to drag on for a little while, even to the point where it looked like other members of the band were giving him the look like, come on now, it's time to get going. So I thought that was a little weird, but overall,
Joey Santiago, that was his name.
Yeah. It was very solid overall.
Again, I said, this crowd was not into them. I think, like I said, it's a weird combo because Weezer's such a very, very mainstream.
Yeah.
It's weird that they're mainstream because, I don't know, Weezer is in that weird middle ground. Mm-hmm. And the Pixies definitely are not mainstream. At least in the United States, Pixies are not particularly popular. However, in Europe, I know they're huge, and they do spend a lot of time touring in Europe.
So one question I've got for you, because I think it's important to touch on, do you feel like this concert, if somebody catches them on this tour, do you think it pretty well represents all their work? Are they favoring some albums over others? Well,
they didn't play anything off Bossa Nova, mm-hmm. So which was kind of weird. I expected them to play something off Bossa Nova, but I mean they played a ton of stuff off Doolittle and Head Carrier and Surfer Rosa. They played plenty of stuff off those albums. Yeah, and they even played one song off one of their newer albums. Things like called, I think it was Blue Green. I'm gonna look at the set list again here, but I think that's what they played. Did they play that song? Maybe I was just dreaming and they played that song. I guess they didn't play that song. It says they didn't play it on here. Yeah, they even played a song off Indie Cindy, but they didn't play anything off Bossa Nova. So I was like, what? It's weird. So overall for the Pixies, we're going to rate each band individually, then we'll rate the concert as a whole. Pixies for me, I love the Pixies. Mingo was with us as well. He also has a strong love for the Pixies.
Yeah.
I thought they were great. I think they're going to be, I'm going to give them a solid 7.5. I would recommend seeing them, but again, if you're into the Pixies, it would be nice if you're a casual listener, check out Where's My Mind, check out the album Doolittle. That's a good album. It's definitely worth checking them out. They're, like I said, they're a lot of inspirations for a lot of modern bands. So they came out in like 86, 87. So a lot of the grunge era bands are all heavily influenced by the Pixies. So if you're really into like Nirvana and stuff like that, they were all heavily influenced by the Pixies. So I highly recommend checking them out, especially while they're still around and they're live, because they're legendary for sure.
Oh,
and I'm giving a fair rating. Again, I'm taking my fanboy down to, so 7.5. So what about you? You being a new to the Pixies. So.
If I were to rate this overall experience at the venue, I would say that the performance probably measured in at about a 6.5 for me. If I were to just objectively talk about how well did they seem to play, I'd give it a firm 7. They are very talented. They played their set very well. I don't even have to be familiar with the songs to know that they were really killing it. But unfortunately, I think that the matching between Weezer and the Pixies is kind of a bad one. The venue didn't do them any favors. I mean, it just, as he said, the crowd just wasn't into it for most of it.
I want to mention this too. They're, and it's not a big deal for me, but for that type of crowd, their stage background stuff, so their lighting and stuff wasn't anything particularly great.
No, it's very minimalist.
It's very minimalist. They just had some colored lights.
Yeah.
Not even a backdrop or anything like that, which I don't care about. I'm there for the music, but it always adds something to the show if you have something back there. Even if some bands I even like when I've seen a few bands where they'll play 4 songs off this album, so they'll drop the backdrop will be that album, and the next album they'll switch to this backdrop. Even stuff like that. It's easy and it doesn't. So that's cool.
In terms of recommendation, if you're just looking to get into the Pixies, I would not recommend just pulling up and seeing them at a show and expect to just all of a sudden get drawn in. I'd go ahead and listen to them first.
And I'll recommend, like I said, Doolittle, Bossa Nova, Santa Rosa. Those albums are probably Doolittle would be the easiest one to start with, and then maybe Surfer Rosa. And then, just skip like Head Care and stuff for once you're into them a little more. Let's talk about Weezer. Okay. So, all right, these videos are going to be really long because we enjoy our music. So, we didn't mention this before we start going to the band. We didn't mention this about the Pixies because we didn't have as many issues during the Pixie shows, but the people that were in front of us.
Oh my gosh.
We had really good seats. The people next to you were fine. There was a kid and his son. They were really enjoying the show. It was awesome. The people next to me, they were there for the Wombats for 5 seconds, and then like 5 seconds of the Pixies, and then I didn't see them again. Yeah. I guess they were just passed out somewhere. There was a lot of drunk people.
So many.
But the people in front of us were to the point they were distracting. There was a girl and a guy. They clearly didn't know anything about the Pixies. So they started when the Pixies were on. They clearly didn't know anything about the Pixies. And they left halfway through the Pixie set. So
don't forget about the guy's parents. So it wasn't just those two. Originally it was 4.
Yeah.
It was the guy, his girlfriend, and then what appeared to be the guy's parents. The guy's parents pulled out halfway through the Pixies, and we didn't see them again. But yeah, they were insufferable. Oh my gosh.
And again, I like to see people enjoy their show. Hey, get in there and scream, yell, enjoy yourself. But they were like mocking the music, which is kind of irritating. And then they were, the girl was more obnoxious because she was too busy trying to take selfies with Rivers
the whole time.
Rivers or the Pixies, Black Francis. She would constantly turn around looking at it. So we're looking at her, and she's taking selfies and recording videos with her behind there and just posting it on Facebook. It wasn't like, my thing with cell phones and shows, take your phone out, take you a few pictures, take maybe maybe one 10-second video or whatever, and then be done. I'd say you're there to enjoy the show.
Yeah.
This girl, the entire show, it was obnoxious because it would get annoying because she'd be raising her phone up right in front of you and like you can't see, and then luckily she got drunk and passed out. Which was really awesome.
I know, it was so great.
And that was halfway through Weezer. She drunk and passed out. So anyway, I'm back on Weezer. So they started out with was it Buddy Holly?
Yeah.
And the Happy Day set. They had the Happy Day set.
It was such an interesting intro. They came in. If you've never seen the Buddy Holly music video, you should check it out. It's very cool. But they actually have the beginning of that music video played over the PA, and then the big reveal was an entire Happy Day set, and they went ahead and played Buddy Holly.
And explosions.
Yes.
Streamer explosions.
Yep.
It was definitely very kiddie, but it was awesome. Like my inner 13-year-old was like, "This is fucking cool." And pyrotechnics. They had a flaming W. That was shooting fire, and that was I like that stuff. I know it's gimmicky, but I thought it was cool. Again, I'm there to see the band. If that wasn't there, it's whatever. But if it's there, I like it. It's cool. Buddy Holly, good opener. Like they were very energetic on the opening, and their the background was cool. It had the Happy Days set. If you don't know Buddy Holly, Happy Days, that's kind of the video is. Really, really cool. They went into Beverly Hills, which I was less excited about, but it's not a bad song.
No, they played it well.
They didn't play anything. They played every one of their hits. Like they seem like they have their set list down. They played a few covers. They played a new cover. They played how many covers did they play?
They played three.
Yeah. It's generally a thing bands do now is play covers. Obviously, they played Africa. The Toto cover. That was a big one. I think that is a very good cover. However, I memed out on that song, for sure.
It's worth mentioning when we talk about this set list that there's a bit of a duality to Weezer's fan base. You have a lot of younger people that they seem to make popular, more mainstream music for now.
That was Beverly Hills. That Make Believe album, which was terrible. What was another hit? Oh, Pork and Beans, stuff like that. Which is the Weezer's second coming. With me, because like I said, I'm older. The Blue album, the Green album, Pinkerton were popular when I was an early teenager. So that's when I first introduced to Weezer. Then I stopped listening to them when Pork and Beans and all that came out. So when I heard that, I was like, what is happening?
But even with you bring up the Africa cover, despite that being a good cover, and I think they did a good job of covering that song, it still was very blatantly catering to that second wave for all the people who think it's cool from the internet.
Yeah, I liked it, and even though I'm poking fun at Beverly Hills and stuff like that, I secretly enjoyed it.
Yeah, they played it really well.
I don't like the song as a whole, but I still enjoyed the experience, and I was still singing along.
Yeah,
same with Pork and Beans. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't take anything away from me.
No.
But you're right. Yeah, that fan base. So you had people again. They're my age or a little bit older. Then you had the 17, 18-year-olds in there. They're 20, 17 to probably 17 to 24 your age group.
They attempted to cater to both groups at this show, and I think for the most part they did a really good job of that.
Short set list. It was a short show. Set list was 20-something songs?
Yeah, so the Pixies did 23 songs. Weezer actually only did 20. And
the Pixies played longer, too.
Yeah.
And there was no banter with the Pixies.
No. Weezer really didn't have a very... Weezer songs are not long, so for them to be the headliner, it was almost like a dual headliner kind of situation.
It's supposed to be a co-headline. That's why there's a slash.
Yeah.
And that's the opening for.
Yeah.
So what songs did you want to hear that were not on there?
Okay.
That they did not play?
In my dream world, I would hear them play Holiday. But I knew that wasn't realistic, so I was fine with not hearing that. They played a little bit off of Pinkerton, which was great.
They played 2 songs off Pinkerton.
Yeah.
I was expecting them to play El Scorcho, but I was not expecting to play the other song, which was...
Yeah, Tired of Sex.
Yes, not expecting that one. That was awesome. I was hoping for Pink Triangle. That's what I was hoping for. And they had played it. I looked at previous set lists, and they play it every 2 or 3 shows. They'd play Pink Triangle, but realistically, alas, they didn't play it at this show.
Yeah, I was hoping to hear Falling for You off of Pinkerton because Rivers has been playing those at his acoustic shows. And I was actually hoping to hear a Weezer cover of Wonderwall by Oasis because they have been doing that. I wanted to hear what that would sound like, but we didn't get that.
Yeah, What covers did they do? They did the Happy Together by the Turtles. And then
they also had a snippet of Longview by Green Day thrown in there.
Yeah. What was the other cover?
Take on Me.
Take on Me. That was the first time they played that. Oh, it's nice to mention that during changing sets, they would do something to distract you, which is really cool. We saw the Pumpkins. They did a little bit less of that, but what they would do is like this. Rivers came out on a scooter and went out in the middle of the audience.
Yeah. It was cool.
And there was a little kind of grassy area in between the shitty seats and the good seats. So he went right there and he played an acoustic show to distract everybody from them changing the stage up. They changed the stage up about 4 times.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah, so and he went there and he did acoustically play 3 or 4 songs, giving the band a break while they're setting up the stage. It was cool.
I thought it was great too because of its kind of central location.
Yeah, it gave all the shitty seats.
Yeah,
good view.
You had something to really. It was very nice.
There were girls crying. The girls that were right in front of him were crying. It was the little teenage girls. It was great.
It was awesome.
It made me happy for them. It did.
Yeah.
I mean, he would have been there crying right there with them if he was right there.
Absolutely.
He'd be like, touch me! Rivers, touch me!
Give me the harem pass.
That's for another video. We'll talk about the harem pass.
It's important to note the Take On Me cover. He actually did it all on his guitar. It was a little rough, but to be fair...
It was the first time.
Yeah, it was his first time playing, and he made that clear. But it sounded really good overall. That was my favorite cover that they did. The Africa cover by Toto was very well performed. Again, I just think that song is just an internet meme at this point, and I felt like it was pandering a little bit.
Like I said, I still enjoyed it, but I agree, it's a meme.
Yeah.
So,
Happy Together. Now that song they played, I love the original song Happy Together, and they were tight when they played the cover, but and they made it unique, but I don't think that it was very good for me.
Yeah. So what do you think were the best songs, at least for you?
I think the best songs that they played were probably Buddy Holly in the beginning. In the Garage was great. All of his harmonica parts were right on point. I appreciated that. And I would say Island in the Sun. It's a really easy song, but it really displayed their acoustic prowess. So.
I really enjoyed In the Garage, like you said, and Tired of Sex. I enjoyed that.
Oh, it was great.
It was a great song.
Yeah.
It was interesting because he did drop a few F-bombs here and there, like 2, and maybe like shit, and there were kids in the audience. You could see the parents covering up the ears of the children. That was kind of funny to me. And it's like, because I was like, clearly you've never been to most shows, because most shows are like, fuck, shit, damn, oops, I gotta delete that out now.
Yeah.
Gotta beep that out.
Yeah.
But most shows curse a lot, so it's we're used to it. It doesn't really bother us.
Yeah.
I was going to shows when I was 15. I was used to seeing a bunch of breasts and a lot of cursing and being around a lot of marijuana. I don't condone any of that stuff. That was a long time ago, and that stuff was still common. A lot of that stuff doesn't happen anymore. Like the shows, like it's a huge drastic difference between concerts 15 years ago and then concerts now, and it's even more if you go back even further. I know. I was quick story. I was at my mom went to a Journey concert when I was 8 months pregnant. She was 8 months pregnant with me. So in the 80s. So it's funny. I went to my first concert before I was born.
Theatrics at this show were incredible. That's got to be noted. We already said they changed it 4 times, and that's not including when he went out into the middle of the crowd. Mm-hmm. So
changed his outfit too.
Yeah, several times. Mm-hmm. So if you want to go and see a very theatrical show, Weezer is definitely going to bring that to the table.
Also, if you want, there were no slow parts.
No.
Like unlike a lot of shows, they have some slow down, whatever. This show was boom, 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 all the way through. There's no song I wasn't singing or into, or they didn't have the crowd engaged. Like some shows, you have the crowd, they lose the crowd. They never once lost the crowd at any point, which is impressive, actually.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, it was even an hour.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was maybe an hour and 5 minutes or something. It was pretty short. So Weezer overall, I'm going to rate them. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be generous because I did really enjoy myself with Weezer. I'm going to give them an 8.
Okay.
We had really good tickets. We had really good seats. He catered to everybody. The stage really good. The fact that he went to the cheap seats and everybody was able to see him there, like it was accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
Like I said, those songs were bam, bam, bam. They were all good. Granted, they didn't play my favorite songs. I can't get mad about that. I still thought it was a good show, and they played most people's favorite songs. So, 8 overall.
I'm actually going to rate it a little bit lower. I'm going to rate it at a 7. And that's a little shocking because I love Weezer. I mean, really. And going away from the show, I had a great time. And 7's still a good number. But there were a couple of key things that put me off. I can't deny he definitely kept the crowd the whole show. It was very seamless, very well rehearsed, and that's why they're getting a positive rating. Kind of the issues I would take, there were some points in the show where they would do this snippet thing where they would throw other songs in the middle of a song at times, and it just really was nonsensical at times. I didn't much care for it. And there was also a little bit of guitar showboating on the part of Rivers Cuomo.
That was just, I mean, it's a concert. People want that kind of stuff. People who aren't into music like we are, that stuff's cool to them. Like, and you call it showboating. It is showboating. But for the people out there, it's very entertaining. I get that. For like, you're a musician. I'm super into music, so it's different for me. Our experience is going to be different than somebody who's a casual listener.
Definitely.
For you, the Pixies would be considered like you were casually seeing the Pixies.
Yeah. I think there are certain parts in a song where it's logical to go ahead and just rip on your guitar.
Yeah.
And the reason I took such issue with Weezer's showboating, that I'm going to call it, is they would just do it at very inappropriate points in a song. It would be, you would have your song tension building, and then he would just do this nonsensical guitar solo that didn't seem to really go with it. So that was why I'm not giving it an 8. I'm just giving it a 7. But again, I had a great time, and really, if you're a Weezer fan, you should definitely go. If you're in the old camp where you really like their first 3 albums, you got to accept that they're going to cater to both audiences at these shows, but you won't be disappointed.
Did you say 7 or 8 the second time? You said 7, then I think you said 8 the second time.
8 what?
You rated it an 8? You gave it a 7?
Oh, no, I said the reason I'm giving it a 7 and not an 8.
Oh, gotcha. Oh,
yeah.
Overall, I'd recommend checking out their summer tour. We're going to put this video up. Hopefully you guys can go see it. If you want to see any more concert reviews, let us know in the description down below. Of course, they'll need to be coming near us. If they're not, we'll put them on the list, and hopefully when they come by, we'll check them out.
Yep.
We are into everything, except you and Mingo would have to do the rap kind of stuff.
Hey, I'm willing.
But yeah, I mean, we'll do anything. We'll check out the shows. If you want to see an album review an album, let us know in the description down below. This has been Heavy Metal Bake Sale. I'm Special K.
And I'm Prairie Dog.
Thanks for watching.